Alrighty. Got a little faster at that one. Alrighty, for this one, swapped in Genie on DPS. And they're trying a very different comp now. I'm not sure if these are comfort picks or if there's a comp they've got in mind for it. I mean, admittedly, we haven't like settled in on any of our like specific comps yet, but it's definitely a unique one. Okay, lots of speed. So yeah, for Lucio, it means your speed boost number is gonna be different. I love how the Lucio boost works on this because the whole team's to the bot and moving in on their position before they even get to the gate. This is gonna set Sojourn up for great value pile driver. Good cover for Lucio, but don't forget the robot. It's gonna unlock. Okay, cool. Yep, and just dancing just so carefully enough. These payloads actually have a slightly larger effective area that allow you to be nearby and not actually C9 it. But you can still affect it without being like connected to the payload. If you want to check it out sometime, if you get into a mode like this, you can kind of like stand behind it and see how close you can get before it starts walking. And in push, if you're not careful, it will actually push. It'll walk itself right outside your range of influence and then stop. So that C9 is very possible. Oh, oof. Good res on the Lucio. And now we've got a bit of a stagger going in our favor. So 4v2. Junkrat walking. Okay. And overall, yeah, I like this push / poke. Ooh. Yeah, nice retreat just in time, running away from Bob. I remember the comms where it was like, yeah, hide. Wasn't really much hiding going on there, though, because they came straight to that fight. But thankfully, Wrecking Ball, made a Wrecking Ball of things, and Junkrat's about to be a mess, too. So right now, while Lucio's pushing, one thing that I'd keep in mind is switching to speed. Having speed on makes you harder to hit. And makes it easier for you to respond to threats to you or your team. So you can just kind of like get a little jump, skip, wall hop, and then get to your team. Oh, here it comes. Boom. Got out of the effective range. Nice beat. Didn't even have to have it. Genie with the play of the day. Great use of geometry to get up to this position. And then same thing with Ace retaking that position. Let's see. Good. Pile driver got 2 or 3 people. I can't tell. Oh. 1 shot, 2 kills. That's just too much. And there's another one. Oh, there's the aerial mine spray. Oh. That's so beautiful, man. And then, now if you look at her, the Mercy did the same thing I was talking about in our last VOD review. Quick, get out there! And really, had the Mercy wait... Okay, frankly, I'm not sure if the Mercy actually would have made it... Or if the team would have made it back out in time. But just feeding face first to die as a support in that case, your chances of stalling versus helping if you wait back are significantly lower. If anything, I would have switched to Lucio or Moira to try to dance, self-heal, things like that. But that may be the quickest Colliseo map I've seen in a long time. I couldn't see the tab of like the deaths, eliminations, etc. But just keeping momentum rolling. I'm not saying this to like trash on our opponents. They're great opponents. We're gonna see that in these next 2 maps. But one thing to be mindful of is part of what forced them into that. It really, if we go back and watch like at 2x speed, count the number of team fights. Or especially the 5v5 team fights. And part of it was the pace that excuse me, the pace that Wrecking Ball and Sojourn forced. So, I mean, heck, literally this very first team fight was very much on our terms rather than their terms. So there's one team fight. And the team fight hasn't really ended yet. This is still the same team fight. Lots of abilities back and forth. I think only one elimination, maybe? Okay, so there's one on their side. So, it's basically one long team fight that led to ult charge. So, one team fight. I want to call that a feed. And then, really, these two here are still feeding. Okay, so we're going to call this team fight number 2. So now 4 of them are out. 5 if you count Bob. Reaper's back. And really, team fight 2, they just kind of disengaged from. So we'll call that team fight 3. Granted, we used 2 ults to their 1, but it was a team kill. And then I might just be kind and call this a 4th team fight if that disengage and then the tire counts as team fight 2 and 3. And so yeah, at kindest a whole 4 team fights in 3 minutes. Part of that was because of the pace that we forced. The second one was that when they backed up after that first one, they didn't gain any value from engaging, partly because the Reaper fed, and then the other 2 almost fed. Frankly, that could have gone worse for them. So, again, this is not to trash on our opponents or to pick on bad gameplay, but looking at the mechanics of what led to that being such a role of, we controlled the tempo of the first fight, where it happened, how it happened. The second team fight, they used ults, but ultimately disengaged. The displacement from Wrecking Ball, really solid, just put Bobby in a corner. No one puts Bobby in a corner, except Blueberry. Anyway, so that second team fight really didn't gain any value whatsoever. Meanwhile, the bot is still moving uncontested. The third team fight was an ult fight in favor of our team, and then the fourth one was another ult fight in favor of our team, because we still had ults left over. And I didn't check the switches or anything like that, but because of the pace of it, they just weren't getting ults as much. You don't get nearly as much ult charge when you're dead. So, lots to look at as far as don't feed, get value out of your ults, or at least get out alive. That second to third team fight, it stinks they didn't get value out of the ult, but they at least didn't die. They were able to be there to get tired together. And that's just one of those things of Genie pressed Q. Genie has the magic Q button, has all season. So, enough on that one. I'm going to save this one and then hop on to... It looks like I'm going to have to do Lijiang next, because I don't have the codes for Midtown or Gibraltar yet. But as soon as I get those, I'll probably have to put those off until tomorrow, because it is already 9 o'clock. It's a little later